Yo, goons, what's good? Today is a special video planned for you. I put a lot of effort into making this happen. So I've got 5 top Goldlewis players today in call. BedlessSleeper, Backpack, Darkrai, Tiger Pop, and myself, and we're just going to be having a discourse on Goldlewis related things. So I think it's going to be really fun, really good perspective. Everyone here has at one point or another been top 10 rating update or even top 5 rating update. So it should be really informative and a fun conversation to have. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So I wondered if you guys each want to give a quick little introduction, maybe in case people don't know who's who, because it is mostly an NA audience at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
My name's Darkrai, and I may be the best Goldlewis, but in my honest opinion, Backpack's just a little better than me.
Very true.
Oh, my controller.
All right, I'm Tiger Pop. I'm known as Happy Chaos in EMEA, but I've recently put a lot more time and effort into Goldlewis, and I think I've done a pretty good job of it so far.
he's a menace.
Yeah,
Welcome to the side.
yeah. Thank you. It's nice over here.
Well, I am Darkrai. I play Goldlewis pretty much as my main. Don't have very much in terms of interesting facts about me, but I do like playing this game, so there is that.
That's not true. He's super interesting.
What did you mean by pretty much as your main? Do you have a pocket Happy Chaos maybe, or
No,
what's going on?
I don't think that'll happen.
Okay. And then we've
I
also
think
So-
that's safe to say.
The doors aren't closed for that, though, is what you're saying.
I mean, it could, yeah, but I really don't ever see that happening in the near future.
we've also got
Okay,
Bedless
okay.
Sleeper from Down Under.
Yo, I'm BedlessSleeper. I'm basically the dark horse in this group. Not a lot of people know who I am, but I would say I'm a very strong
The Goldlewis players know who you
The
are.
tech god for
Yeah,
Goldlewis.
the Twitter tech man himself.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So getting into it.
Wait,
interrupted you,
I'm
Bedless
actually
Sleeper.
Backpack. I'm not Darkrai.
Okay, good. Just glad
We just have 2
clarified that.
Darkrai's. Darkrai is actually just 2 people.
So, first question. Let's get right into it. How come you guys chose Goldlewis? What made you enjoy them? And I'm interested in hearing from Tiger Pop first. Let's go, because he's a Happy Chaos main, right? Extremely strong Happy Chaos.
Yeah.
So what made you pick up Goldlewis? Was it just for funsies?
Well, I've always played heavyweights in games for the most part, right? And I haven't played fighting games a huge amount, but whenever I do, well, not even fighting games, it could be any genre. I'll usually pick like the big character, the heavyweight. My first main in Strive was Nago.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Leave the call right now.
yeah. It's actually the other
So
way
was
around.
mine.
I picked up Happy Chaos for fun and giggles, right?
Ah.
And it just ended up being like I just ended up really liking him and playing him competitively. But when Goldlewis came out, I did play him for a bit and tried him out.
So do you plan
I
on
did fully
keeping your Goldlewis around then for now, or
Yeah, because I really like when season 2 came out. The main thing that made me pick up Goldlewis again, because I hadn't really played him in season 1 too much after Chaos released, was the dash cancels. I thought that, oh hey, this is cool. Let me just mess around with this and see what I can do. And then I, tried all his other buffs out, started playing him in Celestial more, and I've just been playing him a lot recently. I found him just as fun, if not more fun, than Chaos recently.
Yeah, he's so fun. I don't know if the rest of you agree. The main reason I picked him is I just like the way he looked. I thought it was cool, and then just played him. Actually, for like the first probably 50 hours I was on the character, I hated myself because I had just swapped over to stick, and I was terrible at doing the inputs. And I just stuck with it, and I just love him. I love his design. I love swinging. It's pretty simple. I just like swinging on people.
Yeah, it's fun.
He's very powerful. So who did you guys play besides Tiger? Since already said who did you guys play before Goldlewis? If you did play anyone.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear about Darkrai on that one. Who did you start Strive with, or did you really just start with Goldlewis?
Well, funny enough, Strive was actually my first entry into the Guilty Gear series, so I didn't know a lot about any of the characters in terms of their lore or how they played, because I picked this game up a little bit after it initially dropped, because my friend convinced me to play it, and he was like, oh, you got all these cool characters. And initially when I started, I thought May looked the coolest. I was playing May for a bit, but then I switched over to Soul, and I played Soul until Goldlewis came out.
Nice. And what about you, Backpack?
I started with Nagoriyuki.
Oh, that's
And
3 out of
I-
5.
Leave the call right now. Leave the call right now.
Yeah, this is
I was
also
gonna say
my
there's
first Guilty
3
Gear.
Nago starters here.
Yeah, I think the rotation from Nago to Goldlewis is pretty easy to see. I mean, most people
The
are just picking
Nago
the
to
big bodies that are
Goldlewis
cool.
pipeline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
big bodies
exactly.
that are cool. That's actually how I found
Nago
your
was the
channel,
coolest big
backpack.
body,
I found
and
your
then
Nago guides.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me it was I started on Nago and I was doing content creation stuff and I wanted to try out every DLC character. And initially I really hated Goldlewis, but I stuck with him because for the content and no one else is streaming him. He was a very unpopular character. So I thought Nago's getting more popular and Goldlewis is probably the least played character. So I'm gonna stick with this character. It'll probably help my viewership. And I really ended up just falling in love with the character, especially after I could actually do the inputs. It's just very satisfying, and the gameplay is really fun. And time for the real story now. I was actually a Happy Chaos main, but he was so difficult that I just couldn't play him. So I picked a top tier, and now I'm on Goldlewis.
How dare you? Goldlewis execution is the hardest in the game. What about you, Sleeper? How come you started playing Goldlewis?
I played for Strive. Strive was also my first intro to the Strive scene, like not Strive, like Guilty Gear scene.
It was mine as well,
but
by the way. I don't know for the rest.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
was
all,
it?
it's
All
all
the
of
new
our-
Guilty Gear
it's all of
players?
us.
Well,
all of us.
Nice,
We're all
nice.
It makes
Zoomers.
sense because we're
Well-
all playing a new character, right? But yeah, sorry,
Well,
go on.
it's also my also basically my first entry to any fighting game scene. I played a little bit of more combat, but like I need like a few hours. And I played a lot of Sonic Fighters when I was a kid. Sonic Fighters, that's a real game. Did anyone know Sonic Fighters?
No, I've never even heard of that.
Sonic Fighters is a real game, bro. It's so good.
I'm looking this up right now.
I want can we resurrect Sonic Fighters, please? That game was so fun.
See
I
me
love
in
that game.
Shrek.
I've never heard of this game.
See me in
It
Shrek
is
Super
so
Slam.
Sonic Fighters?
Or-
Oh, Shrek Super Slam. Shrek Super Slam for the DS is the real man's fighting game.
Right? Okay, Darkrai knows what's up. Okay, so moving on, I wanted to talk a little bit about. Oh, unless you weren't done, who did you start with, BedlessSleeper? Actually, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I was
part.
gonna
I'm
say
sorry.
I started playing a week before Goldlewis came out, and I played Leo, and then when I played Leo for like a week and a bit, and then Goldlewis came out. But once I got Celestial, I just checked on Goldlewis, and that was it. That's basically it. That's
Yeah.
basically it.
Goldlewis is just so enjoyable to play. I mean, like, oh my
he's
god,
sick.
so fun. Obviously, we might be a little bit biased.
I think that's something we're all
maybe.
gonna agree on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? I don't think Goldlewis is fun.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess
Oh.
out of us, Tiger Pop's the only one
Huh?
who really has like a ton of time on another character. So his perspective is really interesting.
No, I really like Goldlewis, but for like, it was just like completely different reasons than Chaos. I get.
Yeah, I mean they're
guess.
super different characters, right? So it makes sense.
Yeah, they're like basically they basically play complete opposite from each other, but they both accomplish what I like. I think
Top tier
Chaos
versus
is
bottom
just-
one, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Interactable offense.
Yeah, exactly.
And we both have
I
guns.
hate interacting with the opponent. It's so unfun. Like just being able to start your offense and then having them just either guess or not know the counterplay, so it basically works just the same, is great.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
let's talk a little bit about Goldlewis's meta game right now. I know that like meta discussions can be a little
Uh-oh.
boring and or maybe
Uh-oh.
not helpful, but I just wanted to get all of your opinions on what you think about Goldlewis in specifically a tournament setting, like a
Can I
big
open?
tournament setting. Sure, go for it.
I think Goldlewis is absolutely terrible in the current meta setting, in the current
yeah.
tournament meta. And
Yeah.
the only reason I think Goldlewis can win is because people have no idea what they're doing against the character. But even regardless of that, I think it's crazy the results that Darkrai gets with Goldlewis.
That's what I'm
Because
saying. He's a
even
menace.
when people don't know what he's doing, he should still have a really hard time. And Darkrai is somehow consistently placing with his character, going through terrible matchups back to back to back to back in all their games. And maybe Darkrai just doesn't think they're bad matchups, thinks it's a skill issue, but
Spoiler alert.
that's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know how
Mhm.
Darkrai gets such a high win rate either.
We got to hear from the man himself. Do you think that, or do you not really pay attention to that? You just like, I want to be the best player I can be. I don't care about the matchups. I don't care about the meta. I just play. Is that your approach, or how does it really work, Darkrai?
I would say initially when I started, I was very, very much concerned with matchups in terms of like when Goldlewis first came out, because I was one of the newbie players, and I was just kind of like, oh, I need to learn this matchup. I need to learn what this does. But as I played Goldlewis more and more, and as I went on playing more tournaments and everything, I just sort of realized that I know it's going to sound weird, but it's kind of like a skill issue, right? I know it's going to be really messed
Classic.
up.
Oh
to
no,
say.
no, it's
I
true.
know, right?
But it's
It's
true.
just
You
skill
you
issue,
have the
but
skill, and that's why you're placing so well.
but I think it's also in terms of like using Goldlewis's strengths to the best of their advantage is sometimes by not using them as well. Because there are definitely people that I've played where they know the counterplay 100%. Like I think the best example that I've ever seen is probably when I fought Umisho a bunch.
I was just thinking that
And
exact thing.
Umisho, I guarantee you right now, if anybody fights Umisho with Goldlewis, you're not going to be able to 486 on them at all at any point because they will backdash it consistently. But by that point, it's just about learning, being able to adapt to your opponent. I think is probably one of the best things that I've learned on this character. Because if you can adapt to one thing, even if it's just a single call out, it could spell game over for the opponent at any point because you're playing Goldlewis and he's so strong in terms of damage, health, things like that.
Yeah. As
I
long as
do
you're
feel
able to
that,
be
yeah.
right at least once or twice.
Yeah,
You
because
can take
that's
something.
really all it is. Because besides for a few characters, you only ever really need to be correct one time to win the game.
But that's what I kind of mean when I say Goldlewis is really enabled by people not knowing what they're doing. Because in reality, if people could block Goldlewis, that one time that you get in wouldn't be a victory. It would just be another block string. And I think he just becomes a lot weaker in a meta where people are playing the hard matchups and then also defending well against him.
But I think what Darkrai might be saying a little bit is that maybe a big part of performing well with Goldlewis in tournament is shifting away from kind of like flow charting with our amazingly strong pressure and really trying to identify like the opponent's specific patterns quickly and then
I
adapting to
understand.
that.
I do that exactly. And I actually, in my stream, I actually call it a lot. I'm like, this person in that particular block string really likes to backdash. And then I'll call that out. And then I'll see another option of like, okay, well, now they're actually going for more mashing. So I'm going to pick an option that is going to give me the best chance against both of those options, since that's what they're rotating between.
Yeah, it's good to learn the player matchup and like what the opponent actually wants to do. And then you can try your best to capitalize on that and then, get as much of a reward as you can.
So how do you guys feel about Goldlewis at tournament level, Sleeper and Tiger Pub? Curious.
Yeah, Sleeper, you can go first.
Well, I think Goldlewis is a very strong character. I think he's either a top 7 or like just outside the top tier. Like he's very strong in general, simply because he has a lot of damage, a lot of system mechanics supporting him, and he has one of the best like back throw incidents, if you know what I mean.
We all know that. Yeah, that's just crack.
The main issue Goldlewis has is that the really good tournament character is also really strong against Goldlewis.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
Happy Chaos is really strong against Goldlewis, but like
Yeah.
I think I in my opinion, I haven't been able to experience the top level, but in my opinion, I think Goldlewis Happy Chaos is a lot better than people think. But like other characters, like I think Ram Goldlewis is pretty aids because of Fast Session 5H being such a strong neutral spacing tool, and then in addition to 6P just blocking out the air. Because like you can't realistically call out Fast Slash or 5H no cancel. Like they just poke it neutral, right? But you block it or you hit it.
Just
Like you can't
JD,
get
bro.
hit by it.
Just
Yeah, but
JD, brother.
it's like, that's
Just,
such a-
just mess with the 6P, easy.
Oh, yeah?
It's funny. So actually, I think Ram is a super even matchup. I never struggle in that matchup
I
at
don't
all.
think it's too bad.
I don't think it's like a horrible matchup. It's just like in tournament setting, if you can't deal with like some kind of like their neutral very quickly, you will get steamrolled. Because
Yeah,
of
because
how-
it goes both ways,
Goldlewis
though.
defense, his defense against Ram is the main problem in the matchup, in my experience. But
I think there's
it's
actually a
like,
lot of ways to interact with Ram
You
as
IB
Goldlewis.
and you get a back throw incident and it's just GG.
Yeah. Yeah,
IB doesn't work all the time on the record.
100%.
It doesn't always work.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
not
That's true.
consistent.
They can outspace it.
Yeah. And
But-
then at that point, you want to try your best to IBFD and then challenge, but it's just very awkward. Like
Yeah.
defense against Ram is not
There is a
simple.
thing against Ram that I think only Goldlewis has. Nobody else has it. If Ram does like 5P, 2K, whatever button into 6P Rekka, you can 6P after the 6P to beat
Yeah.
Rekka. But they can space it in a certain way. If they like do 5P, 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 6P Rekka, you lose. But if they do 5P like 2 or 3 times and they do 6P into Rekka, you win. If you do 6P.
This is
So
one thing.
they can space it, but you can
Mhm.
generally just mash 6P if you block 6P.
This is one thing that I
Yep.
think that's interesting about Goldlewis is because his game plan is so strong once he gets to get going. I think he actually benefits more from matchup knowledge than a ton of other characters in the game. Like he just really rewards putting in the time and
Yeah.
having good defense, because once he gets to play, it doesn't really matter who you're playing against. It matters much more like how consistently you can get your game plan going. So if you could make the difference in the Ram matchup between never IBing and IBing once a game and getting a back throw, it will like hugely affect your win rates, you know? Even in tournament.
Absolutely.
Okay. So moving on from that, I'm curious if you guys think that the current iteration of Goldlewis is balanced in the current game. Because let's be honest, there are definitely a few things about Goldlewis that I think even we can agree is a little bit overtuned. Like I honestly think that JD could very reasonably use a nerf. You don't think so?
We gotta keep JD.
No,
we gotta keep JD.
That's his identity, dude.
I think the drone
You know,
could
I will
probably use a
gladly-
hit too. Like level 2 drone maybe only give the hard knockdown to level 3. Level 2 drone having it is a bit extreme.
My compromise is that level 1 and 2 Skyfish should hard knock down.
I've heard that before. You're not even the first person to say that. Level 2 Skyfish doesn't really have much of a reason to be used though, so it would be cool if they gave it some reason. What do you guys think about Goldlewis's balance right now?
I think when you're full screen, you're Skyfish level 1, you have meter, just spam it, just become a zoner until they try to jump engage you, and then PLC 6p. That's fun.
Yeah, that's the classic.
But in terms of heavy balance, I don't think he's a strange character, right? Because heavyweight's always hard to balance in these kind of games because you don't want to make their neutral or you don't want to make their neutral too good because their offense is generally very strong. You don't want to make their offense too strong because then it's just incredibly one-sided and it's just like a waiting game until they finally get in. But how Goldlewis is done now, I think he's fine for the game for the most part, but he could have some parts of him tuned, maybe.
Okay.
Like, I think Drone is a bit too strong in some matchups right now. And maybe
Which matchup?
let me think.
Tons of them.
I think drone as an offensive tool is really, really great. In neutral, I actually don't really see much value in it at all.
Oh, really?
I think most good players have just so much counterplay that I can't really press my advantage with it.
It's character dependent for sure, I think, in that case.
Yeah, but which characters is it actually working against though? Because it's never consistent for me.
I think any characters that can't negate it with meter, or can't negate it normally are the ones
give me a
that it's good
specific
against.
character. Give me a
So like
specific
Geo,
character,
like
okay?
Geo and Mei, it's really solid. It'll force them to back up a lot
May
and build a ton of
has a
space.
very good strategy against drone though. I don't think she's a good example
Just
because
jump.
she can walk back or like backdash right in front of drone, and then if you try to jump, she can fast slash over drone and knock you back, and then she can also just spam backdash until drone's gone, and then dolphin once she's able to.
I think if you can force them to spam backdash, it's definitely a net win for Goldlewis though. Like you just build so much space, especially if you get them near the corner.
I actually have a really funny clip. Is it okay if I post it in,
of
in
course.
the channel? Yeah.
Of course.
All right, so I've been playing Goldlewis a lot recently against a Zado player in the region. Yeah, you guys are gonna like this. All right, here we go.
That's it. Does it happen to be Sechi?
Maybe. All right. Yeah, I'm just uploading the clip now. If
yeah, I'd love to see some of those matches actually. If you've been
If
streaming
it's
them, I should
drone
check your
against
VODs.
Zato, I imagine the drone's getting eaten. They're just going to do
you
oppose,
should
eat
take-
the drone and then hit.
all I'm saying, backpack, is you should.
We'll take a look at the
It's not
clip.
going to
Take
be
a look
like
at the
that.
clip.
It's not. All right, there we go.
So Darkrai, were you happy with the season 2 buffs? Did you feel like we kind of got what we deserved, or is it just like, oh nice, I get to swing even more now? Or did you think the character was or is in need of anything one way or another? Or you don't really care about that kind of thing.
I'm trying to think if there was anything specific.
Bro,
Well, obviously
what?
when the
I'm sorry, I'm
patch
watching the clip.
dropped- No worries, I'm
Go
gonna watch
ahead.
it here soon after. Obviously when the patch dropped, I was like, oh, I wonder what they're gonna change, right? And the things that we did get, extremely nice in terms of the card canceling and the extremely strong drone.
Mhm.
Right, I mean, not gonna sugarcoat it.
Don't
Right?
sugarcoat it.
Drone, yeah, not gonna sugarcoat it. Drone and neutral, right? And I think Goldlewis, in terms of balance and strength, this is gonna be horrible to say, but I think he's fine where he is now, with the new FD buffs and characters also receiving buffs to their better normals to make things faster
Mhm.
I think it's just so much the fact that not many people have explored their options against Goldlewis, because coming from me, who has played a lot against varying players of skill level, against a ton of different characters, me, myself, I know a lot of the different counterplay that each character can do because I have to look out for it, right? Like, I guess I'll say one right now. It's kind of common, like Nago 5K, right? Nago 5K.
Don't expose us.
Yeah, I know. I won't say any
That's fine.
specifics,
I'll
but
edit
just
that
Nago
out.
5K, right? Yeah,
Yeah, remove that. Remove that.
Remove
No,
that.
we can talk about Nago 5K. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Yeah,
don't want
but,
Nagos using 5K against Chaos
I
or
know,
Goldlewis
right?
when I'm playing. It's pain.
I
I don't think anybody wants
100%.
them to use their 5K. But I just
100%
think,
agree with you though. I mean, everything you're
yeah,
saying.
like I said, it's just a matter of not so much learning the matchup, but learning like the specific things that you can do with your character. Because it's Goldlewis is one of those characters where you can't just apply a uniform game plan against blocking with or defending against. Because if you try to do what another character is doing, more than likely it's not going to work out. Unless you have like a DP and then there's just like DP here. It's like, oh, okay, then that could work, I guess. But
Yeah. Insert throw during guard crush, and then we're chilling.
all right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
go
I think
on.
Gold's. Sorry to keep interrupting, but I think
Oh, no,
Goldless
no,
is
you're
also
not.
he was also pretty fine. The only issue is level 3 drone not being able to be deleted after startup. It should have a few frames after startup where Goldless can get hit and it goes away. I think it's really dumb how it can't go away ever after you recover. That's really ridiculous. In my
It
opinion.
has created some
Yeah, I
pretty
think
funny
that might be
clips
the.
where
Oh, it has
Yeah.
created some
Oh,
great
yeah.
clips.
yeah. Like Nago back throwing Goldlewis. He tries to start his pressure. Oh wait, drone was out. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait,
When drone just
touching.
lingers in the corner and
Yeah.
it just sweeps people up out of nowhere. It's so funny.
Yeah, I know.
I think one of my
Yeah,
favorite
that might
clips
be the
was
only thing I've
Darkrai find Hotashi, and then I think
Yeah, that exact
Hotashi-
scenario
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
I'm still
That
sorry
scenario's
about that,
happened
by
to
the way.
me.
Yeah, I know.
I love using level 3 drone and then getting bursted out of the corner and
Yeah,
they're just off screen. They can't even see it and they land and the drone just eats them again.
So funny.
So funny.
Well, you can purposely burst them back into drone. That shit is so good.
Yeah, I do that very often.
You burst them
It's
into
so
drone.
good. Yeah,
Oh,
you
man.
burst them back into drone.
And
It's
they're
amazing.
jailed out of the burst, and then you just run up, take a turn. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like if you throw them and then they get hit by a drone during the throw animation, they burst, but you're still invulnerable. So you just negate the burst. Have you guys seen that?
Yes,
Yeah,
I know
that
exactly
has
what you're talking
happened,
about.
yeah.
I posted a clip of that because I was like, what? Here, I'll put it in chat. Actually, I was like, what happened? His burst just went through me, and we couldn't explain it. I'm pretty sure this is a bug. Actually, let me know if this is what you're talking about.
I don't think it's a bug. You're
It's
just
not a bug.
invulnerable during that time.
It's not a bug because the thing
I
that's
need to see
happening is
this.
that when you throw them, you're in an invulnerable state where you can't get hit or bursted, etc. But then after your throw is over, like after you let go of them, they become interactable with the drone. The drone hits them, they match burst because they got hit, they can burst now, but you're still in the throw in animation.
Right,
So you're
right.
invulnerable.
It's messed
yeah,
up
this
though.
is this
It's
happens
messed
with
up.
Zado and Eddie as well, where Zado
Yeah.
throws you, Eddie hits you, you burst because you've been hit by Eddie, but the burst goes through Zado because he still has invuln frames. What a legend.
To segue, I was wondering if you guys wanted to talk a little bit about what you think is the most important to succeed with this character. Like, if you really want to level up your Goldlewis, obviously there are varying levels of play. Like, if you can't do BTs, learning how to BT is going to be really important. But just in general, what do you think benefits Goldlewis specifically compared to other characters?
I have a very
if there's
clear
anything.
answer. I think the most important thing you can do if you're trying to learn Goldlewis, and it's a valuable skill that you'll learn that'll be able to transfer to other characters that you play, but it's maintaining your advantage and calling out defensive options to maintain that advantage. I think all of us, I'm sure, are really good at it. Just knowing how to turn a block string into something that can be as long as possible, like keeping your opponent locked down for as long as possible, and specifically calling out defensive options.
Actually, I have something to say that Goldlewis. Yeah, when I started playing Goldlewis more, he forced me to be a lot more patient when I play, and he generally helped me improve my defense since there was a lot less to think about on the defense compared to Chaos. It's mostly just block and know exactly when to challenge, like Backpack said. Like there was less options to do in terms of what you have to mash.
I find that interesting. So you felt like you needed more patience on Goldlewis than Happy Chaos, even?
Yeah, I'd say because when I get in as Goldlewis, this is largely people not knowing the matchup, right? But you usually win when you start like making them block.
Mm-hmm.
And because
Usually,
of
yeah.
Goldlewis's health bar, yeah, usually because of Goldlewis's health bar, he's able to just play patient. Like if he gets clipped a few times, it's okay. You just slowly, advance, get level 3 drone ready or level 3 skyfish to threaten with. Build meter via dash blocking, etc., etc. You just like keep waiting and then try and make your move. And I'd say that's important to know. Like, don't play too aggressive. Like, constantly take major risks.
Yeah, I think that's actually the number one mistake that like Goldlewis players are trying to make when they improve is like they just focus everything on optimizing their offense and everything on being as aggressive as possible. But what you're saying is exactly right, in my opinion, which is that the character is so strong once he gets to do what he wants to do. You really benefit way more from making sure you don't die or take like unnecessarily aggressive choices in your defense or in your neutral.
But like having a big health bar, a lot of characters or a lot of players tend to RPS more or take a lot more risks. I'd say it's the opposite, and because you have a big health bar, you should play more patiently. So the chances of you dying are even lower. And yeah, it's helped out a lot, I would say.
So would you guys agree with
The
that?
character.
Sleeper and Darkrai, do you agree with that take? Do you think that's kind of the right philosophy when it comes to playing this character?
I think with how varying playstyle you can play Goldlewis, it's not like my opinion, it's just how I play. I use my health bar as a resource for my engages instead of playing patient. I mean, I will gladly press a button to challenge, but like if I get hit, I'm fine with it. So like
You can
instead of
gamble a
being
lot
patient,
more.
I'm more aggressive. Yeah, I play a bit more aggressive on my defense.
I see.
It might be a
but-
matchup because I think my most played matchup as Goldlewis is against Zato at the moment. And that matchup, you have to play like.
I need experience. I'm struggling in that
I'm
for sure.
very good against
They got rid of
Zato,
my buy.
but I play him very aggressively, like very aggressive.
Yeah.
Because I do things like purposely running, like just holding dash macro in neutral, and if they press a pose, I am throwing them. If they don't, I'm gonna try and fast reaction block whatever they press. Or like in corner, I try to as hard as I can to react to a pose and doing a run up grab during it. Things like that. I play very aggressive against Zato. But the thing is, once I try not to just like waste my neutral, because if you block a single button of Zato, you just force into Eddie string. So you don't want to ever block any of his buttons. But like so, it kind of depends on Zato. You have to you have to sometimes force your engage against him. Sometimes that depends.
What do you think? What do you think, Darkrai? Is it better to generally play more aggressive or generally play more patient?
Or does it depend?
For my
Or
personal
does it
play
depend?
style, I'll say that I tend to play a lot more patient in terms of what I will and won't do. Because Goldlewis has one of the best patience rewarding options in the game in terms of like level 3 drone. Not many characters in this game you'll see will get one of the best neutral options in the game simply for like doing nothing, right? Like you could be doing absolutely nothing all around and get level 3 drone out, and then it could be a wrap, right? But also, I will say that in terms of being aggressive on BedlessSleeper's front, there are times when simply just like running at the opponent is the best option, simply because the fear factor of getting a single hit from Goldlewis into hard knockdown is enough to make people do some crazy risky options.
Yeah.
Like, it's really about the threat, right? Like sometimes being patient is much more rewarding because people will be like, okay, I really, really, really do not want to be up in his face, so I'm going to stay from a safe distance. And then that's when you could like level 3 drone, throw out 6/8/4s without being scared of being whiff punished. Or if you could see that somebody's trying to play defensive against you in terms of like reaction based, you could just absolutely go crazy and be a man and be like, okay, you're gonna have to deal with what I throw out, right?
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm doing against this Leo right now.
So I definitely agree that my own personal playstyle is much more defensive, and I think that's a slightly better way to play Goldlewis in terms of my personal opinion, just because you have so many more options to guess, right? But I can definitely see the merit in playing much more aggressive, because sometimes if you do, people will just panic. And that's when you can get the biggest reward out of people not being able to compose themselves in the middle of a match like this. Especially in a game like Guilty Gear where you can die from just one hit.
Yeah.
Literally, especially with Goldlewis, dude. Hitting someone with a count hit J248, they're gone. They're dead, dude.
I cannot believe that clip I saw on Twitter the other day. That poor Eno. Just one J to 148. Sorry, 248, and they just
They're actually
perished
just
from
gone.
full. Yeah.
Yeah, I hit a clip the other day where I hit a counter hit jumping 268, and I just deleted this millia.
Oh no, not the millia.
Just absolutely deleted her. What do you guys think of the millia matchup? Because I think it's generally very Goldlewis favored, but it can
Same.
seem like a struggle once they start like playing extremely patient in the neutral.
Hmm.
You know, they they play it like Chip basically, except Chip has way better reward.
Personally, every time I fight Amelia as Goldlewis, it's just annoying. Just I don't think it's bad. I just think it's it's good for Goldlewis. It's just very frustrating. But I also
Frustrating to pin
can't
the
do
millia down, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like I can't do. I was watching Darkrai at Evo against this Millia on
Oh
stream.
yeah, I remember that.
And he was doing raw 862 to Antia, and I was just thinking, God, I wish I could do that. Like,
I also say that to myself when I watch Darkrai sometimes. I actually don't understand. I really want to be able to do it just to flex, but I can't. I don't know how you do it. I don't know.
You are inspiring. Like your gameplay is inspirational.
Thank you.
It's
I
so
will say
fun to
this:
watch.
if anybody is listening, or if anybody wants to hear my own thing, I will say that I was a hopeless non-862 believer too, like non-raw when I first started. The only reason that I ever did it was because I was like, this. I personally believed I was like, this is gonna be the peak Goldlewis gameplay to be able to do this raw. Like, this was optimal. So I kid you not, I had about weeks upon weeks of me just doing it raw, like in terms of in the practice area for like hours.
So you've
And
labbed
sometimes
it
I
like
would even go
crazy.
through. Well, I think for me personally, I tend to learn things better through repetition. So that could just be my own personal learning style, right? The way I got it down consistently. But I will say that it's not so hard that it's impossible for anyone to do. It's just tricky because the timing is so much more strict.
yeah.
And it can also vary depending on the controller you use. Like I use D-pad, right, which I think is probably very intuitive for like the raws because all you have to do is really slide your thumb up and down.
Mhm.
But in terms of things like Micbox and Hitbox, it could be very, very difficult. But I would say if you really, really want to do it, it's just a matter of practice.
I really want to do it, but I haven't practiced.
I also thought like when I first like not figured it out, but when I first like conceptualized like doing just raw 862 842 and wake up, I'm like, this shit is gonna be crazy. I could not do it. I tried so hard. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not gonna do raw. I'm gonna figure out how to do buffer. And then I figured out all that running, abusing the buffer mechanic.
Yeah, you kind of
I'm like, you know
pioneered
what?
that, really.
You know what? I'm fine with this. This is basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing. I'm like, I'm doing this.
Yeah,
I
but
will
can you
say
anti-Amelia with that?
You can still do it if you're you can still do it if you like if they try to jump out of like 268 or something in corner.
Yeah.
IAD, you just buffer their ass, man.
Mm.
It's fun.
I mean, I've actually landed raw 862 a couple of times in game, but like the vast majority of times I've gone for it, I just end up losing my turn and going and doing like
Yeah,
a jump
that's the
instead.
risk. The risk reward is, is
But
questionable.
like I tend to be better. Like I try something in training mode for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I'm going in game now. Like even if I've only landed
my
it
God.
once, I just like, yeah, all right.
I
we're
have
going in.
literally not ever done it a single time ever.
But yeah, Goldlewis in general, he just has a lot of he has a lot of fun tech to him, like raw 862 or raw 842, or using a dash to buffer them.
Yeah, or the new
being
BedlessSleeper tech,
examples.
the fast
Mhm.
red RC drone.
Yeah, like he's
He
just
convinced me. I labbed it and I wasn't a believer, but he convinced me mostly because if you go for the grab option and then OTG, you can push them back into the drone and get another turn. Like that's really good.
Yeah.
It's definitely well, you're talking about the cancel into drone, right?
Yeah.
With
yeah.
RC.
Yeah.
I actually just use it for pressure now, not even threatening the throw option that often. The pressure is just really nice.
I've actually tried that a few times myself, just using fast RC to get drawn out and then carrying on pressure. It's honestly
Very good.
It's really good. Yeah. Like I'm a big fan.
Have you used that much at all, Darkrai?
Not particularly, no, but I haven't really tried to implement it, so I'll definitely give it a whirl and see if it's as good as you guys say it. I haven't really, I haven't really
Twitter
tried
is
it.
popping
like,
off.
Well, think of it like this. If you're near a corner, right, and they're in the corner, and you want to get in, right, but you're kind of really far. If you do fast slash 684 and then do quick cancel drone, you can fast slash them after the drone and true string them, and then run while drone's running in with you.
Yeah,
It basically stuck in corner. You completely reset your pressure.
I remember I actually saw that like when season 2 came out, the 684 to Red RC drone, and then people were doing 684 again after to like lock them in guard to crush, but maybe far slash is better for the increased startup.
Fast slash is better, yeah, and because you move
And
forward as
reduced,
well.
yeah, and also reduced end lag, so you can run up after.
I didn't actually know fast flash true strength afterwards.
And true string.
That's really
Strings
cool.
after what?
Yeah,
And true strings.
it should.
5K is 10 frames. That's true strings. Fast slash is 10 frames. That's true string.
Yeah, after 684 fast slash drone.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah, I use it to string often because you just follow up the drone afterwards.
I think the conversation was a lot of fun, so I'm gonna call off the recording here. But I just wanted to thank you guys again for coming. Super fun. I had a lot of fun discussing. So
Yeah, I
thanks.
enjoyed it.